don't feel ready, but then again, I never do. I feel as though my heart will burst from the strength of fear, anxiety, and hope. This is my chance. This is my moment, the moment a part of me has always feared. It is not the moment itself, it never is, but the outcome. What if it doesn't work? What if I fail? But I can't wait any longer, for in the end, the outcome is inevitable. I started writing in 5th grade, I think. I was writing before then, but my very first actual writing adventure had been in 5th grade. I write plays kind of because they're a combination of my love of theater and my love of writing and reading in general. And it's just one of the best ways for me to sort of express my imagination.
Starting about telling my parents what kinds of stories I could think up off the top of my head, or these weird dreams I had, which eventually branched into self-expression as I learned how to write, and I learned how to really just formulate these ideas and get them down onto paper. And as I learned how to write better, this talent and this tendency developed with me.
I've always written. Before the internet, I wrote a lot. In 4th grade, I wrote so much I stayed in at recess to finish my stories. And now I'm a teacher of writing, and this is the best profession I chose. This is the best job.
I do write for myself.
Well, I often have a lot of trouble finding time to write creatively.
Think of it as a discipline like exercise. You don't want to do it every day, but you do it anyway.
This year, I'm taking analysis of writer's craft, which is pretty much a complete creative writing class.
So we do a lot of workshopping of our work with each other. I give prompts every day, and the focus is very much on unstructured writing around certain genres: short story, creative nonfiction, poetry, etc.
Creating a space in which we're not only allowed to, but encouraged to write for a grade, for participation, to enjoy, I think creates an environment that makes you want to share, that makes you want to join in a part of the classroom discussion.
I would say the main skill for creative writing, the number one skill is fluency. It is a class that writes every single day without exception. I think we take inspiration from our lives, our observations. I get inspiration from my students. I think writers always find inspiration.
I used to be opposed to nonfiction writing, but now I find myself taking bigger concepts, especially from what we read in English classes, and trying to integrate it into my writing.
Generally, my inspiration from poetry comes from either music or from other poems.
I get inspiration from several sources. Usually it's things that I'm curious about, reflections of my life. If I'm walking sometime without music, or if I'm in a silent place.
In my writing, generally, the themes that I like to explore are the inevitable reclamation that has to be made of the pieces that are left in the wake of some event or some world-changing catastrophe.
I went to UCLA and was not focused on writing. I was a communications major, but I tried out for a short story class and I got in. And that really changed me. So then I went to NYU for creative writing. I got this little fairy statue. I'd begged my parents for it, and I was like, I want to write something about how it becomes alive. And so I sat there and I wrote in my horrible 5th grade writing, 2 full binder paper pages of the story, and I ended up really liking it.
I think I started writing poetry more in a form of songs, but I think that what got me into poetry itself was actually limericks and poems that use a beat scheme. The favorite play that I performed is actually Macbeth by Shakespeare, because it actually does have a few fantastical elements that I think it incorporates very well, and it's an interesting study on human ambition. With playwriting, dialogue is even more essential because it's being performed, and I also think the visual element is very essential because you obviously can't describe anything, it's being seen, performed. It's very important for the characters to be real because real people are performing them. We had taken a creative writing class, and there's something called NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month. I was going to write 1,000 words each day. The one thing that kept me going was there was this picture of an angry black man who was in tattered clothes, and I made an entire story about a slave who left the master's house and kind of went on a journey to find himself and his family. Since I completed my goal, they give you a pin that you can use on Amazon's self-publishing site called CreateSpace. We shared it with all my friends and my creative writing teachers, and it was really amazing for me. I think creative nonfiction is exciting.
I think poetry is hard. I think we play with poetry when we're young and then we get afraid of it, and Americans don't read a lot of poetry. And I would say fiction is the hardest.
Playwriting is generally, I think, more rare.
Poetry, I think, gives for a greater allowance for meaning within a smaller number of words.
I just have a preference for prose, definitely, because I can just really go into the details and get it all out there what I want to say with careful words. I love that it can be both visual and auditory, and you can read plays as well.
It's a vein of writing that's given a lot more to self-expression.
I've always written, so I don't know what it would be like not to think of myself as a writer.
I think it's definitely a way for me to get out my thoughts.
I think the benefits are immense. Mental health benefits, your college essays, it will help you at work, it'll help you everywhere.
Creative writing is an important skill to have because it allows you to analyze the world around you with more freedom.
It's a tool that you can use to really express yourself and get your own personal views and your personal beliefs out there. Don't
Stop writing. If you're meant to write, you will write. You will find time to do it. And just smile when people tell you you won't make a living at it. Go to college, develop a career, and you can keep on writing and you can publish. Believe in your own voice, just keep writing, and don't give up.